Thank you for joining us today. My name is Andrea McEwen Henderson, and I will be your host today. I am one of the national account managers with College Recruiter. College Recruiter is the leading niche job board used by recent college graduates to find entry-level jobs and for students to find internships. Today, we will be speaking with Stephen Rothberg, president of College Recruiter. Stephen started his first small business in 1988 as a college senior, sold it to friends when he went away to graduate school, and then started his second business in 1991. That second business later morphed into collegerecruiter.com. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today as we discuss the recruiter experience.
Thank you, Andrea.
So let's just jump right in. Can you please tell us what is the recruiter experience?
Yeah, sure. The last 4 or 5 years, a lot of people have been talking about the candidate experience, which is essentially treating candidates with respect, with dignity, communicating with them, being, open, honest, punctual, just being a good person, and making the process enjoyable for the candidate when they're applying, when they're being hired, when they're being onboarded or initially trained. It's just as important for the recruiter experience to be positive, for the recruiter to have a good experience when they're trying to hire people, when they're soliciting applications, advertising, interviewing people, going through the selection process. Not enough people in our industry, in the job board industry, in other interactive media, talk about the recruiter experience. We've been doing so this year, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that from us over the next year.
Okay. So why do you think the recruiter experience is important?
Well, I think the recruiter experience is important because there are sort of two sides to the employment equation. There's the candidate side and there's the employer side, the employer represented by the recruiter. If the candidate is treated well, if it's a positive experience, or at least not a terrible experience, an unpleasant experience for the candidate, then you're going to get more high-quality candidates entering that process, staying in the process, applying to the jobs, agreeing to be interviewed, agreeing to a second, third interview, to accepting an offer, to starting and to staying for an extended period of time with that employer. You're going to end up with higher quality employees for a longer period of time. And the flip side is true on the recruiter side too. If the tools being used by the recruiter are cumbersome, are unfriendly, or difficult to use, wasting their time, then it makes it much less likely that the recruiter is going to be able to do really what they should be doing. And that's spending time with the candidates, talking with them, engaging with them. If those recruiters are just doing a bunch of grunt work that's well beneath their skill level, that takes time away from working with the candidates, for talking with them, engaging with them, and at the end of the day, hiring the best possible candidates. So we try very, very hard to maximize the experience of the recruiters and other talent acquisition professionals that are using our site, because we want them to spend time with us on things that really matter, not typing a bunch of stuff into a keyboard. So we try to automate, for example, a lot of what they do with us, where our automated systems will go out and post all of their jobs to College Recruiter, rather than requiring a recruiter to post job after job after job after job and wasting hours or even days.
Right. So why are so few people talking about the recruiter experience?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. Like you were saying, I started a company back in '91. Our website went live in '96. So, we're at about 19 years. It took us about probably 17 years to really fully appreciate how little time these talent acquisition professionals have. The paperwork and the amount of meetings and phone calls and emails that they go through is staggering. I don't think that the typical candidate appreciates how much work a typical recruiter does, and how important it is that recruiter spend a very limited amount of time on each task, because otherwise they'll just never get through what they need to get through. So if we can save that recruiter time, that's a really important thing. I think a lot of our competitors and others in this industry and in complementary industries just don't have maybe the same level of connection that we've been fortunate to have recently with some of these folks. We're blessed to work with a lot of very, very smart people on the client side, and a number of them have taken a lot of time out to basically really sit us down and walk us through their process to see how we can help them streamline that process so that their frontline recruiters can really be using their time effectively. They're all working hard, but let's have them work hard at things where they can really add value, where their intelligence, where their drive, where their training really come into play, rather than just typing and typing and typing.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So now I want to ask you, what can employers do to improve the recruiter experience?
One thing would be to encourage those recruiters to get the training that's available for the tools that they're using. Example, one of our clients recently, they have invested almost no time in training their recruiters on how to use their applicant tracking system. And the applicant tracking system is where the candidates will go and apply online to a job, and then recruiters can essentially send that application back and forth, add notes, and kind of track or watch that candidate go all the way through the application process. If set up well, that applicant tracking system can actually track the source of your applicants. Where was that? How did that candidate find us? Did they come from LinkedIn? Did they come from a TV commercial, a job fair that we ran? Did they come from a niche job board? If it was a niche job board, was it College Recruiter? Was it a sales site? Whatever. But why did that candidate find us? Where were they just before they came to us? If an employer can understand that, then they can better spend their money. So the recruiters at this company did not know anything about the ability to track the source of their candidate. And we worked with those recruiters to try to encourage them to get that training, which is available for free, very easily, very quickly from their applicant tracking system vendor. In this case, it was iCIMS. iCIMS instantly, here's the information. We're happy to help. Give us a call. Shoot us an email. We'll do anything that you want. We want you to make good use of our software. And we were doing the same thing. And the recruiters basically said, sorry, can't do it. It's just not part of the job. Our boss doesn't want us to be spending time doing that. And so what that meant is that they were then put back into that old stereotypical situation of, I know that half of my advertising is working. I just don't know which half. So they were spending money with us and spending money with other media partners without the ability to know whether those investments were smart, whether they were getting a good return on their investment or a horrible return on their investment, because they don't know how many candidates they got from us or their other sources. They don't know which candidates. If we sent them 100 candidates and they were all awful, they shouldn't use us again. If we sent them 100 candidates and 90 were fantastic, they should use us again. But there's no way to know because they were not using the tools at their disposal. So employers need to provide the training and the resources so that their recruiters can make proper use of those tools that they have in place.
So my final question for you today, Stephen, is what are some examples of the things that we have done to improve the experience of recruiters at College Recruiter?
Yeah, so one thing that we did a few years ago is we introduced a product that we now call an all-you-can-eat job posting package. And included in the price of that is what some people call a wrap, some people call a scrape. But basically what it means is if the employer has, say, 350 jobs on their website, and they say, we want to post all of the jobs that are appropriate for recent grads and students to College Recruiter. That might be, for a typical employer, of the 350 jobs, it might be 200 of those jobs. And even if it takes a recruiter only a minute or two to post each of those jobs, that's basically a day's worth of work, where we can fully automate that. The recruiter just says, yep, take the postings, filter out the ones that require 4 or more years of experience, and run the rest. And within usually 3 business days, we have all of their postings up, and then every single day, the automated systems go to the employer's website, they have a look at the jobs on the employer's website, and they compare them to the jobs on our site. And if they're different, we basically become the same. We match what the employers have. So we'll add, edit, or inactivate the jobs on our site so that they line up with what the employer has. And what that means is that that employer that has, say, 200 jobs to post to our site, even if it's just 2 minutes a job, that saves that employer or that recruiter 400 minutes a month. That, I think, is very positive for the recruiter experience.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Stephen, for sharing your insight on the recruiter experience. And again, hope that you'll come back and we can delve into this topic further. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you.